crispiest booger you've ever picked?
Oh my God.
I say this because like while I was waiting for you to get ready, I had a crispy one.
Ew!
It was one of those ones that pulls your nose hairs out, and like I shed a tear real quick. Like it was just crispy enough, and like you hear the tearing of it.
I don't have crispy boogers.
Like I've been struggling with I don't know what's going on, but my nose just every night when I go to sleep it just gets clogged for no reason. And so now I don't know, I have a lot of buildup, I guess. So when I actually can breathe air, it crispifies everything.
I don't think crispy boogers are like part of my list of problems in my life.
It's everyone's had one crispy booger.
I'm sure I've had, especially in North Carolina because it's freaking cold out here.
The air's cold, it's frigid. So give me a crispy story.
I don't have a crispy story for you. I'm so sorry. And honestly, I'm not mad about it.
I'm alone in my crispiness.
Yes. Today we are talking about perfectionism. And I think
what a switch.
On that note of boogers, that's me cutting you off. Let's talk about how my perfectionism won't allow me to share a booger story.
Well, I feel like I'm a worse perfectionist though, but I guess I have no shame. So I'll share my booger stories. I'll share more stories about the gross things of my body, but
I won't. But
that's not perfectionism that you won't share it. That's like you have shame.
Like,
and good. You should have shame. Someone has to be the decent one of the
You
house.
have zero shame. You will.
I've got 5%. 5% shame works because I've embarrassed myself. But it doesn't happen too often.
Well, wait, because you tell me all the time that you are like nothing embarrasses you.
Few things embarrass me.
So tell me the times where you've been embarrassed, because every time I ask you for your most embarrassing like memory, you're like, nothing embarrasses me.
Yeah, I mean, well, everyone has their breaking point, and
what was yours?
Mine was in second grade. So mine was years ago, but I think from that, like I grew out of it, and yeah, it was part of like what we were talking about the other day. Like every child has their first embarrassing story, because
I can't get comfy.
When I just can't get comfortable.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
When I was a kid, I had even less shame than I do now, and I was able to do more tricks such as splits. Like I don't have those mechanics. I don't have the facilities for that big man anymore. And I remember I used to like perform for my mom's friends. That's kind of embarrassing on its own. Like, why do you use kids as like performance tools? Like, oh, do the thing for them. Like, show them what you showed me.
I know, and like nobody is gonna be as impressed with your kid as you are.
I know I wouldn't be. I was what is that? What's her name?
Watch this.
Chrissy Teigen? Is that John Legend's wife? Whatever that meme is of her face where she's like, yeah, that's me. When people are like, oh, watch my kid do this. I don't care. But anyway, I was doing splits for people, and that was where my shame was gone. Until one day I told this girl in second grade, like I used to be like really open with my thoughts and feelings, and I told her, I said, hey, I like you. And I don't know where I was going in second grade with that. I just, wanted her to know I liked her and, see where it goes from there on out. And she said really loudly in front of the whole class line, we were in line going somewhere, I don't know, but she's like, ew, like really, really loud.
That's
and
traumatizing.
What made it worse was not the fact that she was so repulsed by me. It was the fact that she wasn't the only one I had a crush on, which might have been a problem in its own. I had a crush on this other girl too. And so the other girl was like the hot one of the class. So everyone had a crush on her if you were in that class. And so she's like, oh, do you like so-and-so too? I was like, well, yeah. And then so she like, on top of her yelling, she yelled to the other girl. She said, hey, he likes you. And so the other girl knew, and all the class knew, and everyone laughed at me. And the very next year
they're all gonna laugh at you.
They're all gonna laugh at you. I had a very strong crush the very next year. And we spent the entire year of secretly liking each other, and I never said anything because of my experience in second grade. And that's how I remained single.
Your innocence was taken pretty soon. Pretty soon. I mean,
yeah,
I'm so sorry. I mean, like when I think of in terms of not embarrassment, but like when I realized that like my art in itself was like not very good. Because as a kid, like you don't think about, like you just create stuff. And like I never had, as a kid, like I just had encouragement with my art. And I think like now it's like you think so much about how good it's going to be or what are people going to react. But like when we're kids, you don't think about that stuff. You just do them. Like you told that girl, like, hey, I like you, so innocently. And the thing that like your feeling was still like, this is so dumb because you're in second grade, but your feeling
you
was
still have feelings.
Yes. But it's like if we think about that scenario, it's not that your feelings changed after she said ew.
I put a wall up.
You put a wall up, but you still thought the same about her. Like your feelings for her weren't like,
I don't know. Like after that, like some feelings
you're like,
might change. Maybe for the other girl because she didn't call me out so badly, but for her, I think things were done.
Do you wish that like for the second girl that was like, oh, she wants to know if you like her, like
in the second grade?
Yeah.
I don't
like. Wait. Here's my question. Like, would you go back? Now that you're married to me, would you go
my
back?
My whole life would be different.
And like, be honest.
With the first girl that called me out?
No, the second one, who was like asking, because you put up a wall, and you're like, okay, I remember how the first time went when I was rejected.
But it all happened simultaneously. Like the first girl didn't even give me a chance to admit to the other one myself. She asked me and then said it out loud to her.
Okay.
I don't fully remember what her reaction was.
You didn't consent.
I'm sure it wasn't as scarring. The fact that I don't fully remember, it wasn't as traumatizing as the first one.
Okay.
So I don't know if I
so
would.
that was when. That was the beginning.
That was the beginning.
CJ's.
That was my life. That's my villain story. That is my life's villain story. Do you have a life's villain story?
I don't think I do. I mean, there was a lot of embarrassing moments in like elementary school and stuff, but honestly, as for me and like creating and like making art, like I had too much confidence in that. Like I didn't think that bad art existed.
Ooh, okay, well, so when did you
where
did you start your art process? Like where's the beginning of Emily's art process? Because I did art class. Everybody does art classes in elementary school. They kind of have you do that stuff. But where for you was it like I do this, I want to create?
It was really just watching my sisters. Like growing up, I always saw them drawing, doodling, singing, it being involved in a Catholic church. That was different. Like that, we were put in choir and all that stuff. It was like watching that, and I wanted to replicate, and I did. So I was like, I would join like the little karaoke's that they would do at the house, and like I'll see my sister drawing something, I'll try to sketch the same thing, and I'm such a copycat.
Steal like an artist. And that's where really where my love for art was just growing up and seeing it around me. And I didn't think like that what I did could be interpreted as bad art or but truthfully, there is no bad art. It's all relative, right? Yes. In theory, that's where you're right. Generally speaking, in the term, there is no bad art, but I feel that there has to be some sort of standard, because then anybody could do anything. Right. I could repeatedly flick Winston's ear on a GIF loop and call that video art, and it would be. But
because that's the fun part about art. Like we've made art.
Yeah, but then
wait, let's talk about how many times I told you, even with starting this podcast, is that I have a standard, right?
Right.
And you have a different standard.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, your standard is bad art. But
Jesus,
we said honest.
You suck.
Your standard to me regarding the topic of like what's like the vibe for the podcast, or what's our level of perfectionism for it, like where do we draw that line? Like for me, I have a different standard than you. So what happens then when two artists living under the same roof have two different standards for something that they're working on together? That's we can't even make a gingerbread house together because
that's where divorce comes into play.
Stop.
It's
not the D word.
There has to be standards. I would call myself a perfectionist for stuff that I do, but in a way that I see fit. Like it has to match my alignment of what I think is good or what I think is bad, because I'm definitely a person where I have to, and I think you've helped me sort of try to see outside of this realm, because I'm more of like, if I can't do it good, I'm not going to do it. If it's not going to look good, if it's not going to be good, I'm just not going to do it, or I'm going to hide it until I know it's going to be good. So it was like when I was doing the YouTube thing, I didn't want to like put all that stuff out there. So it's not going to be good. It doesn't feel good. Just accept it, which is dead now, guys.
R.I.P.
Just accept it is it's gone, or maybe not. Maybe I'm talking to myself, but I'd call myself a perfectionist. But when it comes to other things like this, I felt more. I wanted to take it more. Yeah, I wanted to take it more on like a free spirited notion and really kind of let what it is be what it is.
Yeah, so just so we're clear, like our first episode, to me, I'm like, that's a good practice round.
It's all a good practice round. I mean,
but that's really what this is.
Every week
like
it's
I had to
round.
realize that like this is all every time we make an episode is practice. So even this intro sucked. I'm sorry for that. But we will get better. So I mean, that's been the realization that I've had this past week, is like just, and like I never finish my sentences. I have like so many thoughts in my brain.
Just fire it off on the next one.
God, ADHD. I always do that when I start something new. I tend to picture it a certain way and expect like a specific result.
Perfectionism.
Shut up.
But we just showed in different ways for different things that we're doing, because for you wanted to, I guess, but you have a standard, which is good. And that's leading back to when we were talking about
bring me back, because
everything is art. But no, because I like the points that you were making, but to finish off like that, everything is art is true, but I feel like there has to be a standard. It was the same when I took my improv class. I was doing improv, which I love. If you guys are afraid of public speaking, or just all around, if you have shame, take improv, because it will help delete some of it. And you really have to break down those walls and just really be weird with the people that you're with. And one of the rules is kind of, if you think it, say it. So really just I naturally live in that realm.
That's risky. Risky business.
So it's like whatever pops up in my head first is coming out, and then you deal with the consequences after that. But with that, so part of the thing, I loved it, and part of the thing that got me at the end of the class was everybody gets to move on to level 2 improv, which that sounds
That's
so
stupid.
funny.
No participation trophies around in this house. What happened to that?
It felt like a participation trophy. I don't like participation trophies. I'm like, you will earn your keep. If you want to do something, earn it, and you get your spot that way. I don't want it to just kind of be given.
Yeah.
And what rubbed me weird about that, it was like, all right, where's the standard of improv? So really, like, and there's so much gray area. There's a line to cross, and art in general, where is that line where it's because you have people who critique you, obviously people that have made it in the industry and things like that, or whatever realm that you're looking
there's
in.
There's
constructive criticism, but if everything is art, what what matters at that point? If everything is art, why does that constructive criticism matter? And
to improve your art, make your
art. To what?
You just blew my mind.
The end point? There's no finish line at that point, and that's why I think there should be a standard. Like, it can't just be, oh, all art is art. It's true with a grain of salt. Like, there has to be some sort of standard that you're held by.
I think it depends on what your goal is when you're making art. Like, that's why I think goals are important to have. Like, if your goal for making music, like, or producing music is to sell X amount of records, then like you need to improve your way to doing whatever you need to do to sell those records. So it's like, that's why goals in art is art. Is it? Someone teach me English. Having goals with your art is one of the most important things for your standards. Like, those are the standards, are your goals with the art.
But that's
you
just a goal.
Set the standard.
But you can meet that goal without a specific standard. Because, okay, so I remember a friend of mine back in Orlando, he told me once that if you stick to something long enough, if you continuously do it, you could find at least 500,000 other people that like it the same way you do. Mm-hmm. Sounds a little freaky, but the general idea of it is consistency is what helps people find you. So if you keep doing it again and again and again, so if my art was farting into a glass jar,
can you not?
And then, tossing it in the air and lighting it on fire, that would be awesome to witness. Actually, that would.
He's like,
first and foremost, I just gave myself a great idea.
No, absolutely not.
But if that was my art form, glass fart explosions, if that was my form of art, I guarantee you, just off the idea alone right now, some dude was probably like, I'm going to try that. That's sick.
I'm sure it's out there.
I'm sure it's out there.
Your Google search history must be like
anything
really
exists.
Weird.
I would Google it right now, but I'm afraid of what I might find out. This is actually a funny story. What happened yesterday? I didn't tell you about it because I was a little ashamed.
Oh no!
But I was trying to. I couldn't remember what streaming service XXX was on. It was one of my first favorite action movies by Vin Diesel. She hates it, but I loved it. I saw it. It was years ago.
He's like, "Oh, babe, you have to watch this movie. I used to love it as a kid." And I'm sitting there watching it.
And she crapped all over it.
I'm like, "This is so dumb."
But so I remember I saw it on a streaming service. I was like, what streaming service was it on? So I was checking HBO Max. I looked on Paramount and Hulu, and I couldn't find what it was. So foolishly, I went to Google and I put in XXX streaming.
James Williams.
Like, surely Google will know that this is a movie I'm looking for. It did not know.
That's a terrible name for a movie.
So obviously
wait, what's XXX about?
It is an action movie by Vin Diesel. If you've never seen it, it is Vin Diesel. Go watch it. It is
action movie. How?
Action movie. I don't know. It's just an action movie. He does.
Okay, but it's called XXX, so let's clarify here.
Yeah, he's got 3 X's tattooed on the back of his neck.
Okay.
And his name is Xander Cage, Xander Cage. And
I'm not trying to get crucified over here.
I don't know why he has 3 X's on the back of his neck, but that's just his thing. Like, and if you watch the movie, I noticed this yesterday too. About within the first 20 minutes of the movie, they do about 4 zoom-ins on his neck. They really make it apparent.
That's a nice neck.
That's a nice neck. They want you to know that he's got 3 X's on the back of his neck, and he does like cool stunts and whatnot. And then he has to infiltrate this group called Anarchy 99 in Russia, I think. It's Czech Republic. Is that in Russia?
I don't know. You're asking me? I don't know anything about
But that's what the movie's about. And I foolishly put that into the Google search, and it wasn't good. So I had to put Vin Diesel after that for it to verify.
Right.
All that to say.
Hopefully you had your safe search on.
I did not.
Okay.
I don't even know how to turn on safe search.
Okay. What is the point of this?
The point of this was to say we got on up on the tangent, but this is back to saying because you mentioned Google search. That's why I got here. But I was talking about me farting in a glass and
right, the important stuff in life.
You can find anybody that likes something the way you do. So there is no standard per se. All art is art. But I guess if you want to be, all this comes down to being liked, really. If you want more people to like and notice you, you have to kind of generalize it, I guess, in a sense where it's enjoyable by more people. There's a larger enjoyment realm rather than, oh, this is my niche and 1,000 people like this, but I want to reach 10,000 people. I want to reach 100,000 people. And that's where I guess the standards and things come in.
And that's where pressure lies when you're first creating something, because
it's no longer just, do you have the people that, you know, they find their 1,000 and they're like, this is my thing, my 1,000 people like this and it's enough for me to get by, and you have the others that I want to reach the world with this, I want to change the world. So maybe the real thing here about being a perfectionist is being liked. Are you about to blow
my mind?
It's
it is 100%.
Did that blow your mind?
No, it 100% is about being liked. And personally, I don't like not being liked. Do you? Nobody does.
Depends on who likes me.
Nobody likes not being liked.
I like for certain people not to like me. Some people I don't want to like me.
Are you okay?
No. But that's fair to say. I mean, no one wants, you don't.
Who do you? But never mind.
But then the same idea of art, you shouldn't want to be held down by other people's thoughts and opinions.
And the point of art is not like, it's expressive, you know? That's the real reason, like, there's art. It's an expression of like yourself. Yeah. So the problem comes with perfectionism when we add other people to the equation, which it's also difficult because some people, their purpose for creating art is to serve others, and it is to, like, you know, so how do you draw that line then? Because for me, when I was first starting photography, it wasn't about other people. It was about me. It was very selfish. I'm like, I want to express myself through this. And then you come to a point where you grow with it and you're like, and other people start to notice it and they're like, oh, can you do something for me? Like, can you take my pictures? Can you create art for me?
But then that's art as a service form, which is art. But then, so
I mean, you gotta live.
Yeah, but so for you doing that, you have art as a service form, but you also have your art. And I remember a lot of times you're like, you want to still keep your creative outlet because that's what keeps you inspired. So it's not so much you do want to, you have to live, you want to work for other people, but you also have your own expressive art. So for you, if you work on your art to serve others, that's your service art. I guess we'll call it that. We'll label it as service art. I don't know if that's a real term. And we'll call that service art. And its purpose
is it service art? Or is it service art or is it a service art?
Have you heard about service art?
I haven't. Man's refrigeration.
What kind of what line of work you in, Bob? But so we'll call that service art. That's for you to make your money and to serve others. And I guess in that realm, you'd be a perfectionist in a sense to make the other person happy. But so for your own creative outlet art, do you still need to be a perfectionist? Do you still need to please other people? Or at that point, are you just looking to satisfy yourself and your itch and maybe somebody else, you know, digs what you're doing and tags along for the ride?
I think about that all the time, but I just feel like with me, I don't just want to create stuff just to create it, like just to make art. I think I want to be intentional and I want to be proud of it. And if I'm not proud of it, then I don't want it to exist. That might be a problem. But you've never felt like,
so quality over quantity.
Yes.
But
like, that's why I would rather paint over the stuff that I've painted for you in the past, and I'm like, that is trash. I would not use those colors today, or I wouldn't do it that way today. You're very like attached to personal things like that, so of course I wouldn't do it. but
I hope not.
If you let me, I would. However, I don't want that art to exist if I'm not proud of it. It doesn't matter what you think. Like, but because I created it, and it's like just knowing that it exists, but also that I have the power to paint over it and make something that I'm proud of, that is like, that's important to me.
But it was something that you were once proud of. So why not, like, you should see it as, this is where I came from and here's where I am now. So
see, that's healthy.
It shouldn't be, you shouldn't be ashamed of it per se. Like, obviously, yeah, you want to improve and be better, and you get better as you do things over time. You quantize the qualitize.
Bye.
I tried to be philosophized.
But I'm not a rapper.
Qualitize isn't even a word.
Qualitize. You sound like T.I. I feel like T.I. be making up words.
And he's an educated
smart.
man.
No, he's smart.
You expeditiously quantize the qualitize.
Stop.
So I'm really just saying qualities, but for some reason I'm adding ties, the qualitize. Anyways, you take what you did in the past and you make it. You see where you came from. Like, this is where I was. Right. Here's where I am now. So it shouldn't be a space of, and also, I don't like it anymore, cares. So erase it. You care.
I know that I'm the only person that cares.
I care.
Oh.
So I don't let you. Go. So I don't let you erase all my stuff. It's getting a little steamy.
He cares, guys.
That's how you win your wife over. Just tell her you care about something that you made, that she made in the past.
Oh, that was so cute.
But I like handmade gifts. If anything, so for me, unfortunately, one of my love languages is gifts. And I say unfortunate because maybe this could be like some trauma coming up from the past, but I was always kind of made to feel a little bad about that. It was kind of like, oh, why does somebody else have to give you something? I didn't know why. It was just, I felt liked or loved when somebody gave me stuff. But here's the kicker though. It didn't have to be something expensive. I loved when I love handmade things. So everything that you've made me, I still have. I've kept all the art pieces. I have all like the birthday cards and stuff. I have birthday cards dated back to when I was like 12, still somewhere hidden, but I like when people give me stuff, and I keep all of it. Yeah. So it means that kind of stuff means a lot to me. It doesn't have to be, oh, you bought me an Xbox, but I like, keepsakes or whatever, but it's, they're good memories of the past. So there's no reason that you have to, be ashamed of any of it.
I also don't think it's so much shame. It's just me. I'm dumb.
Because it's no longer, I guess that's not, I wouldn't say that's perfectionist coming through, because
how would you describe that, Dr. Williams?
Dr. Williams, I have my honorary doctorates from the University of Nowhere. I don't know how I describe that. Maybe you just don't like the past. Maybe you're so.
I'm not afraid of change. That's big too. You are. You like consistency. I wouldn't say I'm
afraid of it.
Yeah, I would
like
say
it.
You like consistency. I'm not afraid to change something up and make it new, and I feel like that brings more life to it rather than it staying in the past and just existing there.
Well, I'd like to just create something new. Why do you have to change what already was?
I don't make the rules here.
You don't have to. You do make the rules. These are your life choices. You don't have to change what's already been done, but you could do something new. You could do something different. Now, if I asked you to paint me the same picture every year, that would be a problem. And I'm like, if it doesn't look exactly the way it did last year, we're going to fight.
I also think it's a challenge for myself to see like how much I've actually improved, or is it just in my head? I think I have to prove myself something of like, why do I feel like this is a therapy session for me?
Well,
let's talk about you.
So, wouldn't you prove
we need a part 2 of this?
We might have to at this point. Well, wouldn't you prove what was different by making something new rather than changing what was a past? Because at that point, you're just trying to erase what already was. And you can't erase your past. your past is your past is your past. You better look forward and move on into the future and just do something different.
On part 2, I will harass you about all the things that are wrong about you.
Ask me questions. Go
you
ahead.
make good points. I'm not even gonna lie. So
we made about like 5 solid points in this whole episode.
This is a good one.
I'm gonna have to kind of bounce back in this one a little bit. And so here's something cool. Whether we do a part 2 or not,
we're doing a part 2, and I'm coming for you.
I mean, I'll say whatever I need to say. I've got no shame. I've got 5% shame.
We know he has a little shame now.
I've got a little shame. I've embarrassed myself before. I can say that. But it doesn't happen for me often because I choose to find like the comedy in a lot of stuff that happens. That's kind of my new philosophy now. As I get older,
I didn't know that about you.
Me growing up now, I'm making a conscious choice to try to choose the funniest outcome in a situation. So when I find myself in something weird, I ask myself, what would make this funny? And I had a great opportunity a few weeks ago on my last night of improv. No, it was a second to last improv class. And
oh God, why am I scared?
You shouldn't be scared.
Okay.
I think
what did you do?
It was I was a good citizen. A lady approached me, asking me to help her move a refrigerator. A refrigerator.
Oh my gosh.
It was one of those mini refrigerators. She asked me to help her move it into her office. I was located in the theater that I was at, and she had many occupations. She didn't have one. She was, I guess, one of those people on their business card where you write entrepreneur, businessman or businesswoman.
This podcast artist. Is just us making fun of each other how we talk.
When my brain gets turning, I don't really pay attention to how things come out.
Yeah, so her business card said entrepreneur.
No, she didn't give me a business card, but she had a lot of occupations. She was she made costumes for Carnival. She was a chef, or what do you call it? A caterer. She was a caterer. She does pedicures and manicures. She gave massages. But the beauty, the best part of it all was that she wouldn't say sex coach, but she was what do we call it? A cultural intimacy influencer.
I don't know how.
So basically,
who hires her?
I don't know, but she has an office, so somebody's got to be paying for these services, and they could get it all. It's a one-stop shop. You could go to her, you could get your feet done, you could order some food. I don't remember.
I'm dead. You out here promoting this woman and don't even know the name of her business.
I don't remember. I don't know if she'll ever see
I
this.
relate to that 100%. Starting out trying to figure out what you want to do. You do everything at once. Go ahead, do your thing. Somebody told me you can't do it all. And I said, bet. So I started knocking them out one at a time. She want to do them all at once? Good on her. Let her do her thing.
A jack of all trades is master of none, but sometimes better than one. I think that's how it goes.
Wait, repeat that. I talked over you.
A jack of all trades is master of none, but sometimes better than one. That's not how that goes. I want to get this right.
I don't know. I've never heard that. Wait. A jack of all trades is a master of none.
But some jack. Hold on. We're gonna get this right. We're gonna let us wrap this up nicely.
Let us wrap. I already don't agree with that.
All right. Where's I want the whole saying. Come on.
It
Google.
just jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Yes. So they're master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one, because you have more to offer, really. So if she was just a cultural intimacy influencer.
So what I didn't agree with was the first half of that. I agree.
Why wouldn't you agree with the first half of that? A jack of all trades is master of none.
No.
You can't master everything, but that doesn't mean you can't do it to a high level. You could still do it at a high level, but
it depends what you define as a master. Anyways, art is subjective.
All of this is subjective. That's why there needs to be standards. And I didn't even finish this earlier, but my improv class, everyone could move on to the next one. But I was like, what if you just weren't getting the concept? So why am I learning these concepts in order to move on to the next level? If anyone could just move on to the next level, I'm just paying my price just like the next person.
And this
has been buy your way into the next level. I'm sorry, I have a lot to get out. We do need to do a part 2.
And this has been Let Us Pray.
Let us wrap this up because I'm gonna go on a heated tangent. But this is episode 2. thank you guys for listening, watching, whatever platform you're absorbing this on. Remember, our email is letuspraypod@gmail.com. If you have questions, hate mail, or if you have an opinion and you just want to console me on my issues, what do you think of art? Send us an email. She's going to answer you.
Or a DM on Insta.
Or a DM.
Let us pray pod.
Because I don't really handle all that stuff. She'll be the one to respond to you, and then she'll let me know, because if I respond to people, it's not going to be very professional.
Let us pray, Remember.
See, now you want to do it? Remember to stay fresh.